Yo, what is going on, fans and coaches of the ASL? My name is Secho322 here, and I will be bringing you guys the ASL Season 6 Week 10 weekly recap. Horribly late, but you know, it is what it is. And yeah, so we have the 6th season of the ASL. We're going to be doing a weekly recap, recapping the week, quite obviously. It's pretty self-explanatory, but yeah, so let's just start hopping into the video. You guys saw transactions up yesterday. You're gonna see weekly recap, and you're gonna see weekly recap top plays and power rankings today. And I think we're gonna start the playoff implications next week. There's a lot of teams that have at this point there's I think 3 teams eliminated and 1 clinched. So there's stuff that we do need to talk about in terms of the middle. So we will probably hop into that next week. It'll probably be me and Milan doing it, so yeah, that'll be fun. But anyways, going back to this video, we have a 2-0, 4-0, 2-0, 3-0, 2-0, 5-0, and a 2-0, so a lot of 2-0s this week, a lot of close games. But anyways, let's just go ahead and hop into the first match. So for the first match, we have the Seattle Togedemaras taking on the Wenters Weavile, as Vish is going to take this game 2-0 over Brett, and Vish is going to be trying to propel himself into a playoff spot. He did not have the greatest start to this season, but he's definitely looking good so far. He's back at the 500 level, and he's going to be doing his best to try and make the playoffs. This is pretty much, I think, Brett isn't officially out, but it's going to be a really hard climb to get back into a playoff spot. But anyways, let's hop into it. First up, we have Rhydon and Jellicent. It's going to heavily favor the Jellicent, as Rotom is going to come out and try and pressure said Jellicent. We're not going to see a Scald Burn, and Brett is just content with taking a Volt Switch on his Jellicent, which is going to do so much damage. And out comes the Slowking to be toxic. So interesting play going into the Slowking. I guess he just Vish just wanted to make sure this thing was going to recover when he went into Thundurus. That is going to crit, and Thundurus is going to take a lot from the Ice Beam, and the Thundurus is going to get frozen. So yay. And Thundurus is going to stay frozen here, and then out comes the Rhydon on the Galvantula. We're going to see a Sticky Web come out, and then Galvantula is going to go out into the Jellicent, as Vish is going to double into his Silvally Ghost. Now he goes for the multi-attack, still outspeeding despite the Sticky Webs, meaning it's probably a max special attack Silvally. And we're going to probably see the Ice Beam come out here, as that is what is going to be thrown off. We're seeing a lot of crits so far. But Swords Dance is going to be set up from the Blaziken, as the Silvally is going to go for the Defog. Then out comes the Rhydon, predicting a potential Flare Blitz. It's not going to be the case, and this Blaziken is going to get a Flame Charge off. So this is very, very bad for Vish. But he's going to go out into his Slowking, which is going to be able to take anything that this Blaziken wants to throw at him. And the Slowking is going to go for the Psychic. So Mega Gardevoir is going to click that Mega Evolve button, do a lot of damage with the Hyper Voice. And Vish is packing the heat. He's going to go for the Iron Tail. And then he's going to just go sack off his Thundurus, because this Mega Gardevoir is going to kill. And out comes Zygarde at 10%. It will outspeed for sure, so 1,000 arrows is going to come off. Zydoge picking up its first kill of the match as we're sitting here 4-4. Out comes the Cryogonal, is going to be well, not outspeeding, but it can go for the Ice Shard, if anything. And then Brett is going to go out into his Gliscor, predicting the potential Volt Switch. And Vish trying to predict the swap. We're going to pretty much see nothing. I don't really understand the play at all on Brett's part. I mean, I guess he's thinking that it's locked in, which is definitely a thing. But Vish just doesn't care. He's going to go for the Volt Switch on the Blaziken. Blaziken's going to set up another Flame Charge, but this Slowking is going to be able to take any one hit. It just doesn't care. So out comes the Rotom, predicting the swap, but for some reason Brett's going to stay in. This is just a series of a lot of interesting plays that I really don't understand, but I'm just here to commentate them. So we're going to see Zydoge get the kill with Extreme Speed. We're sitting 3-3. And Silvally is going to be the swap in for the Cryogonal. The Cryogonal does so much damage though. It's not going to be able to get the 2-shot, and Silvally does a lot with the multi-attack. And out comes the Galvantula, and Brett for some reason went into his Galvantula. I don't understand why, but he did. So now the Gliscor is going to set up Stealth Rocks. Okay. And now it's going to go for the Earthquake. And for some reason the Gliscor was not Poison Heal. Okay. Now we're going to see Extreme Speed come out from Zydoge and win the game. I don't even understand half the plays that were made in that game, but you know what? Whatever. That is going to be the game. The Wenters Weavils are going to win 2-0 over the Seattle Togedemaras. I am big confused and my head big hurts. I forgot to put in the logo for T-Flight. Anyways, this would have been a match between Cody and Susie, but T-Flight's going to be taking over. You guys will see his logo next week. But yeah, so T-Flight takes over for Susie, as Susie did step down. And yeah, that was a forfeit game. So let's just move into the actual second game. We have the Portland Timbers taking on the Slowbro Bohemians, as Mega Gallade is going to be one of the weekly heroes. Unfortunately, it was not enough to help TJ win the game, as the Portland Timbers are going to come away with a 2-0 in this one. And let's go ahead and see how it turns out. So you see Rotom Heat taking on the Uxie, and Rotom is going to go for a big Volt Switch. That is Choice Specs damage, doing 34% on the Volt Switch. And Uxie gets a nice Psyshock off, getting a crit on the Steelix. Gonna not matter at all. The Uxie now goes for what I would assume to be Hidden Power Fighting, as the Steelix is going to set up the rocks. Out comes the Decidueye, as Rotom Heat is going to come back out to try and pressure this thing. And Rotom just gets to go for a nice Overheat and get rid of the Uxie on the crit. Not too sure if the crit actually matters, because again, it's Choice Spec Rotom Heat, so I don't think it mattered, I'll be honest. And we're gonna see Gallade go for the Throat Chop, bringing that for the Mismagius and for the Latias. And the Togekiss is going to go for the Dazzling Gleam as Registeel comes out, and Togekiss is going to go out into the Rotom Heat, because Rotom Heat gets to put on pressure every single time it comes in. And TJ is going to go for the Protect with his Registeel, as the Overheat is going to be clicked. And TJ just does not have a swap into this thing, so he's going to stay in with his Registeel. He's going to take 91% from his Overheat, and Iron Head is going to do nothing. And TJ pretty much has to sack this thing off, but going to go out into Steelix, predicting something like the Kyurem to come out. But TJ makes a swap into his Gallade, as Latias is going to come out. And Latias takes the Drain Punch. It does quite a bit of damage, but is now going to be swapped out into the Togekiss, predicting the Throat Chop. And with Registeel coming out, the Togekiss is just going to be able to click Fire Blast and get rid of the Registeel. So the Portland Timbers are up 6-4 at this point, but TJ is able to go into his Archeops, as out comes the B-Sharp on the Archeops. And Archeops is going to go for the Stone Edge, and then TJ is going to sack it off to the Sucker Punch. He was predicting a Pursuit to come out and stayed in and went for the Fire Blast, but he did not get that one correct. And Latias comes out. Latias can live the Drain Punch, and Latias can do some damage right now. Psyshock is going to do a nice 43% to this Gallade, as Gallade will pick up the first kill of the match for the Slowbro Bohemians. And then Togekiss is going to come out. Togekiss can go for the Dazzling Gleam, which is going to be doing a lot of damage. It's almost going to kill the Kyurem. It's going to be living on 18%, so Kyurem has to stay in. It cannot swap out. But Steelix is going to be sacked off here. It's going to be frozen, because you know why not. And TJ is not going to take the opportunity to get into his Gallade. He's just going to let it go down. And then out comes the Bisharp, which can go ahead and Sucker Punch and get the kill onto Kyurem. And then out comes the Mega Gallade. So the Bisharp almost kills with the Sucker Punch. It's not going to quite be enough. And Gallade is going to go for the Drain Punch. But out comes the Virizion. It is Choice Scarf Virizion. And it's going to go for the Leaf Blade here, which is going to do nothing to the incoming Decidueye. So out comes the Rotom Heat, as Decidueye is going to go for the Spirit Shackle, doing 41%, and then Rotom gets off a nice little Overheat, doing some big damage and killing the Decidueye. Out comes the Gallade, which the Gallade will be able to go for the Drain Punch, getting a little bit of health back, and then out comes the Virizion, going for the Choice Scarf Leaf Blade again. The crit probably doesn't matter. It had like an 80% chance to kill, so it really doesn't matter. So yeah, that is going to be the game. The Portland Timbers are going to win 2-0 over TJ and the Slowbro Bohemians. Next up, we have the Chicago Conch Gelders taking on the St. Louis Swablues. And Malone has been on an absolute tear lately. Malone is making a claim that he deserves to be in playoffs, and that is being justified more and more with every game that he plays. He's going to be sitting at 6-4 right now, knocking Dave down to 6-4, as Malone is going to be taking this 3-0, and let's go ahead and look at it. So you have Thunderous Therian taking on the Stakataka. Out comes the Slowbro on the Stakataka. It's going to be able to answer it every single time, but Dave knows that's the swap, and he goes right out into his Gourgeist. So the Gourgeist is going to go for the Leech Seed, as it's not going to do anything to Kartana, and Dave went out into his Mega Pidgeot. Malone's going to go from Slowbro into Goodra, which the Mega Pidgeot now goes for a Workup. So it's going to go for the Hurricane. Still does absolutely nothing to Goodra, because Goodra is a monster of a special defense wall. So the Pidgeot is going to go for the Roost to make the Thunderbolt do slightly less damage. due to the fact that it removes flying typing. So Dave knows this is not a winning battle for him, and Malone is just going to start wasting his PP. So Malone is going to go out into the Kartana, is going to absorb the Toxic, and can now go for something like a Smart Strike, but he goes for the Leaf Blade, just playing it very straightforward. Out comes the Goodra, is going to get the Sap Sipper, so nice on Malone for doing that. So out comes the Rotom. The Sludge Wave is going to do some solid damage, get the Rotom to about half. That Volt Switch is going to do nothing, as Stack Attack is going to come out, and Sludge Wave is going to do nothing to that. So, predicting a potential Earthquake, Dave is going to swap out Smart on him, because this Goodra is just going to pressure Malone down. Out comes the Stack Attack. Malone is just going to keep doing this war. We'll see if he can catch. Nope, Malone is not making any predictions. Okay. So we're going to see a Toxic Miss. I mean, Malone didn't really have to predict anything. He's just taking 5% each turn. So Malone is now going to go for the Draco, and being in range is going to kill the Rotom. So Goodra is putting in a lot of early work. Mega Pidgeot is going to be a lot safer in here now that the Goodra has the lower special attack. But Malone goes out into his Thundurus, which is Lumberry. So now the Mega Pidgeot knows that it is a lot safer against it. The Hidden Power Ice is not going to be able to kill, and the Gourgeist is going to go for the Synth. But Malone is just going to set up a nasty plot, and he can start threatening Dave a tremendous amount. The Shadow Sneak is not going to be enough, and the Hidden Power Ice will be able to kill. But the Alolan Persian is going to come in and just Dark Pulse to finish off the Thundurus, and Malone is still at 5-4 at this point. So Donphan is going to come in as a response to the Alolan Persian, which is Life Orb, we know that. And Donphan is going to set up the rocks, and this looks to be a Coil Zygarde from the way that Dave brought it out. He's just going to go for the 1,000 Arrows, though. Gets a crit onto the Slowbro. It's not going to matter, though, just because Slowbro is so bulky. It's going to go for the Ice Beam, get some really solid damage. And then it's going to Mega Evolve to be able to take this hit. Because if Malone did not click Mega, he would not have lived that hit. So Slowbro is effectively dead at this point, but it did what it needed to. It took a hit from the Zygarde, and now it's up to Donphan to be able to take a hit from the Stack Attack. But Scarf Kartana is going to come in with the Leaf Blade, gets a Beast Boost, and then out comes the Stack Attacker. This is obviously not going to kill, but Malone's going to go for it anyways. It does good damage, and the Hidden Power Fire is going to come out from Stack Attacker. It's going to get a defense boost, but it really doesn't matter. This Donphan is still going to be able to kill with the Earthquake. And it comes down to Persian, but Persian cannot win this game at this point because it has to get through a Slurpuff. The Donphan is going to go for the Earthquake and does get the kill. So that is going to be the game. Malone playing it very well and is going to get a 3-0 victory over Dave and the Chicago Conkelders. Now, moving into our, our fourth match. We have the St. Louis Samurott taking on the Philadelphia Flygons. As we see Brad taking a nice 2-0 victory in this one, as no weekly heroes. We don't have any weekly heroes until like game 5 or 6. So yeah, let's just go ahead and check it out. So you have Nidoqueen against the Heliolisk, which Heliolisk is not going to opt to stay in and just go for the Surf. So the Nidoqueen is going to get some big early damage with that Fire Blast, since the Mega Venusaur was not Mega Evolved yet. And this Nidoqueen is already putting Ferret in a horrible position. He's going to have to sack off his Mega Venusaur without getting the Mega off on turn 3. So out comes the Bronzong to sponge this Hyper Voice. And it's looking like from the mold of Anderson's team, he's going to be able to just destroy Ferret up until this point. But we're going to see a big knockoff from Scrafty. That might be Banded, I'm not going to lie. That did a lot. So Scrafty's going to die though. Anderson is sitting up 5-4, but Ferret is going to go out into his Exploud, which is going to take a lot from the Thunderbolt. It's going to be paralyzed, but the Boom Burst does one-shot it. This is just an absolute slaughter fest right now. Nidoqueen is going to come out, gets the Ice Beam kill. We're sitting at 4-3. This is going to be a very quick game. So Nidoqueen is going to sponge the Hyper Voice, does not kill with the Sludge Wave, so out comes the Tangela, as Hyper Voice is going to do so much damage again. This must be choice specs, I'm telling you. Out comes the Kyurem Black, down with the Tangela. Kyurem takes half. Out comes the Heliolisk, or down goes the Heliolisk with to the Dragon Claw. The Kyurem is going to be sitting in here. It goes for the Dragon Claw, does 33 to the Torkoal, and the Rocky Helmet is going to be doing some work to the Kyurem. So Kyurem is now going to be burned, which means that Celesteela can come out for free, not having to worry about taking a big Fusion Bolt. Kyurem is going to go for the Sub-Zero Slammer, doing 74% though. This is just amazing how much damage is being dealt per turn. Celesteela is going to whip out the Z move. He's going to go for the Continental Crush. Gets rid of the Kyurem. We're sitting at 2-2 at this point. And Reuniclus is going to come out. Reuniclus is going to take the Heavy Slam and could go ahead and go for the Psyshock to get rid of it. And now it's up to the Torkoal to try and win this game, but Reuniclus is going to outspeed, can go for the Psyshock and win the game. So that is going to be the game. St. Louis Samurai are going to win 2-0 over the Philadelphia Flygons. God, that game was fun to watch, not going to lie. Oh my god. Alright, so moving into the next match, we have the Aussie Kangaskhan's taking on the Jersey Justice, as Ian has been hitting a bit of a rough patch lately. Not had the greatest of luck. I think, I don't know, I might be spitting just absolute madness, but either way, he's going to get a very convincing win here, 5-0 over Milan in the Jersey Justice. So let's see it. We have Slowbro taking on the Garchomp. Garchomp is going to go for a Swords Dance immediately, but EN doesn't care. He's going to go for the Ice Beam, dealing 3/4 of health to Garchomp, and Garchomp is going to go for the Devastating Drake, not expecting this Slowbro to go for the Protect, so Milan is just going to set up his rocks, cut his losses, and go from there. So out comes the Cofagrigus. Garchomp pretty much got nothing done except for getting up rocks, which is unfortunate. But the Cofagrigus now goes for the Will-O-Wisp on the Drapion coming in, so Drapion's knockoff is going to be greatly reduced in power, but the Toxic Spikes are going to be very annoying for Milan to deal with. And the Lantern is going to get the Volt Switch out into the Metagross, so Metagross can go ahead and pressure with something like a Zen Headbutt. But he's going to go for the Reflect instead, so this Drapion is going to actually do nothing, 13%, as it is a Light Clay Metagross. So Milan is going to be able to get up both screens, and then it's going to click Explosion to make sure that this Drapion cannot set up any more hazards. But with the double Toxic Spikes up, this is looking very bad for Milan, as the Raikou is going to set up a substitute. So with Mega Deontay going with the Calm Mind, this is looking very scary. Rock Polish is going to be set up too. If there was no Toxic on this Deontay, I would be very confident that it just won the game. But, you know, the thing is this is sub Protect Raikou, which is going to just decimate with the Toxic Spikes. So the Deontay is going to die here, so very unlucky. Very good setup by EN, very well thought out, bringing the Sub Protect on the Raikou, coupling it with the Toxic Spikes, very good. But the Lantern is going to go for Scald, which does not kill. And then Raikou is just going to be sitting here. It's just going to Sub Protect. It just really has no other play. It's just so safe. We're going to see the Hidden Power Ice come out here, as finally going to be breaking the sub, as Lantern is going to be weakened even more. We're going to see a sub come up from Raikou. Milan tries to get off the Toxic, but at this point it's looking very grim. The Toxic is just too much to bear, but the Lantern goes for the rest. Okay, this is annoying now. Okay, here we go. So Torn goes for the Hurricane and goes for the Confusion, and the Golbat gets the Brave Bird off, doing good damage, and then the Torn goes for a Hurricane, landing it onto Cofagrigus, confusing that while it's Toxic. So now the Torn is going to go for the Black Hole Eclipse, either off of Knockoff or Dark Pulse. I'm going to guess it's from Dark Pulse. Who knows though? And the Torn is going to U-turn out into the Mega Altaria, and Volt Switch is going to go and do 20%. As the Golbat comes out, and we're going to see Ice Beam coming out from the Mega Altaria. I didn't even know this thing got Ice Beam, but cool. So Hyper Voice is going to do some good damage. It's going to be Toxic, but the Lantern is going to drop after the Toxic. Okay, Milan. We all know how this goes. I'm just going to go ahead and skip way ahead. There we go. Milan finally forfeits. You know, you could have done that 30 turns ago, but it's all good. So, yeah, that is going to be the game. The Aussie Kangaskhan's are going to win 5-0 over the Jersey Justice. And so, for the last game of the week, we have the Hartford Whalers taking on the PC Barcelona. And TCP is going to win this 2-0, improving himself to 10-0. As Darm is going to do some work. And let's go ahead and see the Darm do some work. We got the Soggy Gorilla against the Crispy Gorilla. Nothing beats the Crispy Gorilla. Shadow, you should know that at this point. So out comes the Drudagon as the Zeraora was just obliterated turn 1. So Florges is going to be able to soak it up, and out comes the Drudagon. The Drudagon swaps out into the Ninetales on the Mega Latios. So we're going to see a side shot coming out from Mega Latios, and the Ninetales just goes for a Blizzard and crits. I don't think it mattered. I guess it kind of depends on the Ninetales set. Who knows? But Darmanitan is going to come out and go for the Earthquake. We obviously know it's Scarf. So the Balloon is going to be nice here, because Shadow's now going to go out into his Celebi, predicting the Melodic to come out. Not bad on Shadow's part. I like it. So the Celebi can now go for a Nasty Blot, which is not going to be good, because the Darm is going to come out. But the Drudagon is going to sponge the hit from Darm. So we're going to see Rough Skin, Rocky Helmet, and Flare Blitz damage. So this is very bad for the Darmanitan. Does not want to sit in against this Drudagon too often. Drudagon is going to go for the Glare, and Florges comes out, and Rock is going to be set up from Drudagon. So, moving into turn 11, we have Nidoking coming out to try and pressure this Florges, as Florges is going to go for a Defog, and Avalugg is going to take so much damage from that Sludge Wave, and TCP is just going to opt to sack it off. Out comes the Diggersby, which can go for the Earthquake, and is going to do some good damage. It's going to be two-shotting the Drudagon, but out comes the Alolan Sand Slash. It is on an air balloon, so that's going to be not so good for TCP. We're going to see Melodic come out as the Sand Slash went for the Icicle Spear. It's going to hit 4 times, but it doesn't really matter because it's going to do nothing. And Celebi is going to soak up the Scald, and then can go for a Psychic. It can go for a Giga Drain, Leaf, Storm, stuff like that. So we're going to see a Nasty Plot go up as the Florges comes out. And Celebi is going to go for the Psychic, which only does 47%, considering it's at +2. So, showing off the bulk of Florges here. Going to be Nasty Plotting again. I guess hoping that the Florges would wish, maybe? That's all I can think of. Nidoking is going to come out, as Melodic is going to take 44 from the Sludge Wave. It's going to be able to live it, and Shadow's just going to hope that he can live this Scald, and TCP is just going to recover instead. So, Thunderbolt is going to come out, does 52. As the Melodic goes for the recover, and TCP is just going to be sitting in here with this Melodic, clicking recover. Skip forward a little bit, so Melodic finally whipped out the Scald, and then was forced into the Florges. Florges is going to be sacked off here to the Nidoking, so Nidoking is putting on a lot of pressure, but it doesn't really matter, because now Diggersby is just going to be able to put in the finest. So out comes the Drudagon. Diggersby is just very content with clicking return, doesn't really mind. And the Diggersby is going to be let go here, as the Icicle Crash, or not the Icicle Crash, the Icicle Spear will be enough to kill. And then after this, TCP, since he broke the balloon, he can go into Darmanitan, literally click anything, and this thing is going to be just destroyed. So Flare Blitz is going to come off, it's going to kill the Sand Slash, and the Darm does live the recoil. So this is going to be a 2-0 victory for TCP as he improves to 10-0. So that is going to be the video, guys. Thank you guys all for watching. Again, sorry that it was late. But yeah, it's here, so you guys should be getting 2 more videos today. And yeah, thank you guys all for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.